Because you talked to. All right, folks, welcome back to News One Now, TV One. Of course, we just had Reverend William Barber talking about what's happening in North Carolina. I'm going to go to Jason first. Here's what's interesting was there. Republicans lose the governor's mansion. Pat McCrory fights it, tries to target black folks. Right. Durham County, alleged voter fraud. Even his own local boards kept smacking him down, were offended. This is absolutely sore losers by the Republicans in North Carolina. They are angry that fusion politics actually work where NAACP, black folks combined with rural white folks to knock down what was happening there.
Here's what's happening in North Carolina, and I think it's the concern of everybody. It is the blueprint for both Republicans and Democrats moving forward. For Democrats, this is how you build a coalition. It's working class white folks, black folks, new people, everybody, get them involved. To take over the AG, the governor's mansion during this election is amazing. The scary part is this is also going to be the blueprint for the Republicans who now run Congress. They're going to try these same stunts. They're going to try to eliminate the vote. They're going to try to steal democracy away from voters wherever it is they can. So I think everybody should be focusing on North Carolina. This is going to be the future of this country.
I keep saying North Carolina is the Alabama of the 21st century.
Yeah.
And when you look at what took place with voter suppression, when you look at, Scott, where a federal panel knocked them down, said there was a laser-like focus targeting specifically African Americans, where the Republicans in emails asked for the data of when did black people vote. 70% of all black folks in North Carolina voted in the first week of early election. As one of the reasons why they whacked early voting. That's why they whacked the sites down. In the first week of early voting in North Carolina, only one location. Then it ramped up as early voting went on. They want to shave off as many votes as possible. And look, one of the reasons Donald Trump won, because voting was down and voter suppression played a role in Wisconsin, in North Carolina, in Pennsylvania, and what did Michigan do right after the election? Quickly moved for a strenuous voter ID law, because they too want to actually shave votes off.
And the Republicans at the state level and at the national level have been relentless about this and will continue to be relentless despite judicial decisions against them. The Democrats have to be just as relentless. The next thing to look for when Reverend Barber and his coalition, they go to court, look for their attack to be on what is race neutral versus not race neutral before the court, and these decisions to go in and, as you say, power grab. The Republicans will argue that this is just simply the art of political deals being done, and they have not broken the law, even if it feels like they have. Look for us to take, or Reverend Barber, to attack and devaluate what's race neutral about why they're in court. That's where the fight's going to be, and I predict the courts are going to back Reverend Barber and his coalition, but at the local level and state level, will the Republicans honor it or will they appeal it?
Eugene, Republicans nationally are saying nothing, and they are quiet because they are endorsing what is happening here. Pure and simple.
So a couple things here. I personally, I've said it before, what North Carolina Republicans are doing is absolutely wrong. I come from a state where it was one-party control, and we had a Republican governor come in, against all odds. And if the Democrats in Maryland would have done the same thing North Carolina Republicans are doing, I think it would be absolutely horrible. The second point there, I think we pointed out earlier that, this is a loss from McCrory and there was a loss from McCrory and loss for establishment Republicans. This didn't start here. This fight started when Hassan Harnett, the former North Carolina GOP chair, was elected, and with the games they played.
Who was black?
Who was black? Who was black?
Hold on, say it again. Say it again. In North Carolina, there was a black state chair of the GOP.
First black state chair of the GOP,
and they quickly threw him out of office.
Who defeated Pat McCrory's handpicked chairman. With the coalition of grassroots activists. It's the same folk that are pushing, the same folk that are serving on these local election boards that are pushing against the current governor. And so, I think, it's sad. It's not representative of the entire Republican Party.
And Donald Trump, of course, has not tweeted one time about what's happening.
But if it's not representative of the entire Republican Party, how come Reince Priebus, how come these leaders have not said anything? There's an amazing parallel, Roland, to what's happened nationally and what happened in North Carolina. You had a Democratic woman governor, Bev Perdue, and McCrory came in behind that, using and pushing all the buttons that have been used and pushed around women, around progressives, Catholicism, and he came in, and immediately they went with their boards of electors to start changing the rules about elections. They immediately went in and started dealing with things about early voting and other things. Immediately, Reverend Barber, I mean, he is just such a giant, and I will say, Scott, he may be an alpha, but that's the least, not the most of his accomplishments. He is just
You know,
I'm sorry. Roll it.
See, she can't even get up people right. See that? See, when you hate, that's why you screw up.
So just really quickly, I just want to say that this, to me, speaks volumes. Republicans will put party over principle at any day of the week. Every day of the week. And that's why, I appreciate
Everybody be quiet.
I appreciate you saying that this is wrong, but the fact that we haven't heard from any establishment Republicans on this speaks volumes. I think that this is going to be a model that is used in states across the country for how you limit the powers when you lose. It is like nothing I've seen before. It is crybaby antics, banging on the floor, acting like a fool because you've lost, and now you want to take away power, and it's more dangerous.
We have seen this before because this is simply, Jason, nullification.
Yes.
This is exactly what whites did in the 50s and the 60s after Brown versus Board of Education. In Louisiana, they literally were changing the law. But people don't understand is, and I'll pull the book up in a second, the injunction was created because of what white segregationists were doing in the South, where in Louisiana, the legislature was changing the law literally every other day.
Yes.
They would go to court, strike it down, they would go back, a new law. Go to court, strike it down, come back, a new law. So what they did Thursday and Friday was exactly what happened in the 50s and 60s.
We've talked about this before. It's the end of the third Reconstruction, right? This is what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
it is a focused, dedicated plan to try to roll back any and every meager accomplishment that might have been made over the last 8 years. And I think this is a really important role that you pointed out. To fix this, for us to do something about this as a nation, it's going to take money. Okay, we can talk about this all we want. You've got to donate. You've got to put in time because these lawyers ain't working for free, right? I mean, these lawyers have to spend time. You have to get people out of jail. You have a lot of different things.
And you looked at Scott when you said that, huh?
Yeah, I know. I kind of made that clear. It's like they ain't doing pro bono. But
You know, the other thing about it, Jason.
It's a disappointment. It's a disappointment that this is what you have to do for basic democracy.
Absolutely.
And it is shameful that Reince Priebus and no one else is standing up right now to say something about this. We know Trump is a fascist in waiting, so I don't really care what he's going to say or he's going to tweet because he doesn't care. But I think any Republican who actually loves this country more than they love power, the same problem we have with Russians, should be screaming about this because it shows that they don't care about true democracy.
Real quick.
If we go back in history,
if we go back in the filibuster in the Senate.
Oh, come on.
Stop. First, factually correct. The filibuster was a Senate rule. The rule was changed. Eugene. The rule was changed. This is not changing a rule. This is literally changing laws. This is literally changing laws from one. They tried to pack the court. Democrats, progressives have a 4-3 advantage. The initial idea, Eugene, was to add 2 Republicans to the state Supreme Court to make it 5-4. They said not to do that, but they literally stripped 80% of the power from the state Supreme Court. That's like Republicans right now stripping the U.S. Supreme Court of 80% of their power and shifting it to a lower court. That is diabolical. And so you cannot even compare that to a rule change in the U.S. Senate.
My issue is this.
Eugene, no, Julian, go ahead, Eugene, finish your point.
I agree with you there. I agree with you here. But my thing, I'm calling it out here live on TV. I'm calling it out live here on TV.
But what is coalition doing?
20 seconds. 20 seconds.
My thing is this. Power grabs happen on both sides of the aisle. You know, it happens on both sides, and I think we should universally call it out. You know, there wasn't outrage.
Eugene, there will not be these false narratives, and that is power grabs on both sides. Show me, please, where in the last 5 or 10 years where you've seen Democrats pull what North Carolina did, where they literally said to the governor, you can't appoint 1,500 people, you can only now do 300. You can no longer appoint the members of the UNC Board of Trustees trustees. We're going to shift the power from the state superintendent to the lower superintendents. And in fact, we used to be in North Carolina where the governor controlled the seats on the election boards, where it was 2-1. They literally, not only did they change that, they got rid of the state election board, merged it with the state ethics board, and now it's you get 4, we get 4. That, to me, you can't even compare that.
No comparison.
And you know,
folks, the book I was talking about, pull up my iPad, please, Shelley. The book I was talking about is called Unlikely Heroes by Jack Bass, a vivid account of the implementation of the Brown decision in the South by Southern federal judges committed to the rule of law. It is a fascinating book. If you want to understand how federal judges actually enacted Brown versus Board of Education, these were white Southern judges in the Fifth Circuit. You want to read this book, a fascinating book. Coming up next on